to GCSE Product Design, Design Influences number 7, Marketing and Advertising. Okay, so let's get started. Should you design for the sake of it? No, absolutely not. It's not product design when you do that. User need is very, very important. Otherwise, you could make something that might seem clever in the first instance, but it won't sell. If it doesn't sell, you don't make any profit. If you don't make any profit, your company goes out of business. So, what do designers do? Well, designers design for specific user groups. Once you've got that core group of people that you're designing for, and they buy your product, then you can extend the market, and then you can make more sales. So, how do companies actually target these specific people? Well, they use something called marketing. Now, marketing can come in two shapes, okay? You can do interviews or questionnaires. Interviews give you deep and meaningful answers, but it's quite narrow. You only get it from a small group of people. Questionnaires reach more people, but the information that you get from them is rather shallow, very sort of simple questions. Okay, but the idea between both these types of consumer surveys, interviews and questionnaires, is that they're both designed to find out what people need, what they want, what they think about existing products. Once you've got that information, you can design and make the product. But then once you've made that product, what comes after that? Well, you sell the product. And to do that, you need a strategy for how you're actually going to market your product to that group of people. Okay, so something what they call a marketing strategy. Now, the basic components of a marketing strategy are often referred to as the 4 Ps. These are price, place, promotion and product. Okay, so let's look at those 4 in turn. First of all, let's look at the product. It's important that you know your product's USPs, your unique selling points. If you know what is good about your product, that's the first thing you need to try and get across to the people that want to buy it. Secondly, you need to determine a price for your product. In other words, how much are you going to sell it for? And that could depend upon quite a few different things. It might depend on the demand. You could charge more for something if you think more people are going to want it. You're going to have to think very carefully about how much it actually costs to make. You may have to be sort of restricted by certain government taxes which you've got to pay off, and that might influence the price. You've also got to be aware of the competition. Okay, you might pitch yours, a couple of pounds below just to make sure that it sells, and also think about whereabouts in the product's life cycle it is. So, for example, you can pick up an iPhone 5 now far cheaper than it was when it first came out because it's near the end of its life cycle. Thirdly, you need to think about the place. Where is this product going to be sold? Where can your target market actually buy it from? Whether that's a mail order offer that you may have to send off for, it might be a small shop, or it might be at a larger store, or it might be online. Okay, so just think about those different places. And the last P is promotion. In other words, how will people actually know that this product which is aimed at them is for sale? And you do that with advertising. Now, advertising is just a part of the overall marketing strategy. It's used to attract more of the target group and to hopefully persuade other people to buy the product. In other words, if you've done your actual market research, then the product that you've designed should sell to the people that you want to anyway. But advertising will extend that market. The only problem is, though, you've got to consider how you advertise a product. Think about how much you want to spend on it, the costs. Think about which new target market or audience that you want, and think of the most appropriate medium. Medium's just a posh word for the type of advertising. So let's have a look at some of these different types of advertising. If we look at TV is great in terms of visual sort of impact. Okay, you've got a pretty sort of wrapped audience there, especially if you put it on during certain times of the day or in between certain programs. But the biggest selling point for TV is it reaches a lot of people and it's very, very visual. Radio is quite useful for local sort of broadcasts. So for example, if you had a local event going on, then you could advertise it on a local radio station. Radio is also quite good because the audience actually pictures what's going on rather than seeing the image itself. Printed advertising is usually in the form of adverts, whether that's in magazines, and the other things that would influence a magazine advert might be whereabouts in the magazine it's going to be. You might be on the back page, you might have a half-page advert. You've also got to be thinking about which particular magazine you want it to go in. There's no point advertising a car in a children's magazine, because children aren't going to buy cars. Okay, the fourth one we're going to look at is what we call direct mail, which is just a posh word for junk mail. The only problems or limitations with junk mail is very often it gets thrown away. So not many people look at it. It's seen, that's why they call it junk mail. However, it can be quite good again for a sort of local community. For example, if a new takeaway's opened up nearby, then posting leaflets into the houses of the local people is quite a good thing. Billboards are a bit strange. Billboards sort of take some of the elements of printed media and a little bit of direct mail as well. They're very often used for certain sort of advertising campaigns. You see them a lot as elections appear. Nowadays, most of the stuff you see on there might be things like Sky TV, cars. Okay, there's certain things that are going to get used on billboards. Online is obviously relatively new in the whole world of advertising. All these other things have been around for a long time. Online advertising, its biggest strength is it can be directed towards specific individuals. So if you're on a particular website, you can get an advert that's targeted towards you because you happen to be on that particular site. Likewise, when you're on Google, if you search for a few things, when you start going onto other pages, you'll often see adverts related to the things that you were previously looking at. Okay, so you're now in a position to hopefully answer this typical exam question. Okay, so a marketing strategy for a new pogo stick is required. So can you explain the key features of a marketing strategy? Okay, which is basically going back to that. Alright, good luck with that. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Silcoats DT YouTube channel.